All right, so welcome back. Today I'm going to discuss a question that I get all the time when I have art events and when people visit my studio. One of the questions that I get is, what is your process? What is your creative process? How do you get your ideas out there, and how do you turn those ideas into completed artworks? And the way that I do it is, whenever an idea comes to my mind, I try to draw that idea out and get it out of my mind. Just thinking about how quickly you can think of something and it go away. Just imagine sometimes, you'll wake up in the morning and you'll look at your phone and you'll have an idea of doing something. And before you know it, you've pulled open a social media app and you've been sidetracked and you forgot your idea. So I try to avoid things like that. And I try to get my ideas out as soon as possible. And the way that I do that is I carry my iPad with me wherever I go for the most part. And if I have an idea that comes to my mind, I will open up my iPad, I'll use the Procreate app, and I will draw out the idea as quickly as possible just to make sure that I get it out there. Sometimes it will be simple scribbles, just to have a gesture of a composition that I might be thinking of. Sometimes I'll do the line work for the drawing if I have more time. Maybe if I'm at home sitting around, or if I'm in my studio and the idea comes to mind, I'll develop it a little bit further. Sometimes if something comes to my mind and I don't have my iPad with me, I'll just open up my phone and I'll take a note. And in that note, I'll just have a brief summary or a brief few words about the idea that comes to mind. And then I can always develop that idea later on. Now, once I have these ideas drawn out, scribbled out, if I write a note, I don't always come back to that idea immediately, because I'm always working on a lot of different things. In my studio, I'll be working on sometimes 3-4 different pieces of artwork at the same time. If I'm getting ready for a solo show or an event, sometimes I'm working on 6 or 7 things at once. So I don't feel the need to always get the idea out immediately. Sometimes I will visit the idea a week later. If I have the time, sometimes it'll be a month or two later. There's even been times where I've created an idea and I've revisited it 3 or 4 years later, because now I'm ready to do it. Or maybe I didn't know exactly how to attack it at that time, and now I know how I can attack that idea or concept. So once I'm ready to attack the idea or the concept and bring it to life into a painting, I will fully develop the drawing if I need to, and typically I'll do that on my iPad. Sometimes I go traditional and I'll do it with a pencil drawing, but the iPad has just been so convenient for me recently, because it's so small and I can carry it around almost anywhere. I'll fully flesh out the composition and make sure that it's all completed. If it's an idea of my own, I will do the color in my head. So I won't develop the sketch or the concept piece in color, because I have that all in my head. I've been doing this for so long that I know exactly where I want to go with the colors, and I can just do that after I have it all ready to go. Now, if I'm working on a commission piece for maybe a company or even an individual who commissioned me to do some artwork, I will do a color mock-up. And the reason that I'll do the color mock-up is so that they know exactly what the vision is for the project or for the commission, and where I'm going with the work. That leaves minimal issues with maybe guessing what the work might look like, or maybe receiving something that they didn't expect. I want the people that I work with, or the groups or the companies that I work with, to know what they're going to get, so that once we get halfway through the project, they're not saying, hey, I like this, but this isn't exactly what I expected. I was wanting this or that. So that's when I'll add color into the drawing or the composition. After I have the composition completed and I'm ready to paint it, depending on the size of the piece, I can approach it in two different ways. If it's a larger piece, like right over there, you can't see it. I have a 3 foot by 10 foot piece, very, very big piece, sort of an awkward size. I will take the drawing that I did and I will project it onto the canvas. And then I'll take some burnt umber and I'll add water into it, make it loose. I use acrylics. And I'll do a sketch out onto the canvas. If it's a smaller piece, I'll just take the burnt umber and a paintbrush and I'll just sketch it onto the piece. Because when you're working larger, it can be easy to create things disproportionate to what you originally visioned, especially if you're working on a mural or something like that. So to avoid that, that's why I use that projector, and I will project onto those larger pieces. After I have the image sketched out onto the canvas, then from there, I start to use the base colors. Also, I do an underpainting as well. So, I'll have an underpainting, a layer. Usually the underpainting underneath the canvas is sort of like, I like to use the complementary or the opposite color of what the composition generally is. So the piece that I'm telling you about that's over there that you can't see, it's the color, the main color is like a greenish tone. So underneath that, I put reds, and I feel like that creates a really good sense of vibration to work on top of, because complementary colors vibrate amongst themselves. And sometimes those colors can sort of bleed through even when you can't particularly see it. After I have the sketch done, the underpainting done, I start to lay in all of the base colors of my painting flat. Once I get all the base colors laid down flat, then I like to go in and start adding highlights, and I start to add shadows as well and fully develop the image. So now that I have my base colors, my highlights, and my shadows, now I can start working on details and color shifts, gradients, tweaking things from here to there, trying to pull three dimensions into the work. So it may have a sense of flatness, but I also want a sense of dimensionality as well. And that process over time can take a lot of different amounts of hours. People ask me how long paintings take. I would say on an average, a painting might take me between 15 to 20 to 30 hours to complete when I'm working on a larger scale. When I'm working on a smaller scale, I can knock things out quicker. I could probably get something done 2, 3, 4 hours, depending upon how much detail I want to go into the process. But I definitely like to work in steps and go step by step by step by step. And that also helps me to jump around to multiple paintings as I'm working on one image. Let's say I get tired of working on this image. I've worked on it for 2 days straight. Now I can jump to the next one. I can come back to that later. So it gives me a lot of freedom to move around and to work on several things at a time. So yeah, that's really my process. I'll probably make a video and go a little bit deeper into the process as well, and also show you guys some of the drawings that I've done in the past on my iPad, things of that nature. And I do have some videos, some shorts where you can see the time lapse of me drawing out an image and then it becoming a completed painting. I don't use any, excuse me, I don't use any type of AI or anything like that. My ideas come straight from my mind. I'm not gonna knock anybody that does that, but that's not for me. I feel like I've been given this brain and these thought processes to create things out of that, and that's the way that I like to do it. So that's really my creative process. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask me in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer those for you. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great week. Peace.